Welcome back, everyone. 欢迎大家回来。今天是第41天。It is day 71. Yesterday was quite a bit bumpy. Let's get into it here with yesterday's. Got some emotional baggage to reinforce some of this stuff. Okay. All right. So, 西方 how did I mess this up? It's probably a 1 to 4 typo. 西方 this is a 1 to 4 typo. Oh no, wait. Might not be. Oh no, this is the I don't know what I was thinking. I wrote first, but it's present or now. This is have not, but not have is what they want, right? Have not and not have is kind of, it's being pedantic. Or don't have. We have 4 troublesome things as far as I remember yesterday. Most of the others are semantics and human error. Let's see. I think this one was a diphthong. Typing error. Right. Soul. On soul. What happened here? Oh, position as opposed to strictly inside. Ren Qi. Oh. To recognize as opposed to know or to identify, right? Interpretation. This was one of the weak ones, right? 早已 Yeah, 早已 早已 long ago. We tied this up with 长久 长久 which is long lasting. 长久 and 长续 just long term. This was one of the weak ones. Thoughts? Not too much, but I was distracted. To think, to consider thinking your thoughts. 思想 probably a 1-4 typo on being 1-4 typo. Oof, this one, jerk reflex, terrible. Ask or not ask. Not ask. I just did it again. Here. This is bookshelves, all the bookshelves. This one's a weak one. Bookshelves, all the bookshelves, and books on electricity, right, in the basement of the electricity plant. And who is in the basement? Kirby is. 且 and moreover. More and more books on electricity. This one was a weak one. Hard to accept. Yeah, this is a weak one. Hard to accept. We got to think about physical. It's physically hard to accept. So to feel unwell. Or uncomfortable. I actually think uncomfortable works a lot better for me, because whenever I say, I'm a little uncomfortable about that, that's hard to accept or difficult to accept. Like, man, that's a really bold statement. I would be uncomfortable in making that bold statement. Non-show. Right, non-show. And then, of course, oof, this one's bad. La. What did I need to know? Guard. Outside. And pull with finger. Fingers or finger. For la. Okay. Alright. Let's get into this. Okay. Excelsior.
算了
算了. 算了, calculated. Did calculate? This one's good. 算了. It feels like forget it, but the two primary meanings do not help very much. After you calculate everything you did for that one thing, you realize nothing will change and you should just forget it. It's like the opposite. Yeah, let it be. Let it be, let it go is what I would think immediately. 算了, just let it go. Right? Let it go. Forget it. Let it go. Never mind. Don't bother with it. Maybe don't worry about it. These are a little bit more interprety when I think about it in the context of a sentence. I just forget it. Let it be. Let it go. Never mind it. Right? Don't bother with it. Don't worry about it. 算了. 算了. Yeah, 别说了. Don't say anymore, yeah. Never mind. Don't say it anymore. Or forget about it. Don't worry about it. Don't say anymore. Okay. Forget it. Okay. 算了. And it's more of a 算了 for more of a neutral to negative, in my opinion. Like, forget about it. It's kind of a bad thing, but let's forget about it kind of thing. As opposed to let's forget about it as in, oh, it's a positive thing, but we're overdoing it. And forget about it, we're overdoing the positivity thing. It's more of a compensation, like a consoling. Forget it. 他不想来. Oh, 他不想来. 就算了. Yeah. That person doesn't want to come, so forget about it. Forget it. Don't worry about it. That person doesn't want to come, right? 算了.
算了 参加
to attend or participate. Okay, participate. To to participate is missing participating. I don't know how loose these things are. Yeah, take part. Taking part, there's so many versions of these. I usually use participate, so gotta cover them. 我要去参加派对。
我要去参加派对。
我要去参加派对。参加when something. I keep forgetting this one.
参加婚礼。
婚礼。婚礼。A steak, suit, or spirit? No, steak, spirit, and beans. Having Link in the house in the basement with some steak. Not that type of steak. The stabbing steak. Beans and spirit. That's gonna be an interesting one.
参加，虽说，
虽说 okay. Although said is still although said, although speak. Although not everyone speaks it. The clause although is quite common. It's still although. 所以说 this is like the redundant thing. 所以说 not to be confused with 谁说所以说谁说所以说所以说算了吧认识他很久了。所以说认识他很久了。Although I've known him for a while. 所以说我七老八十了。七老八 7 old 7 to 8 tens already, so 70 80s love. Oh, that's interesting. So they put old aged already, and then you split the two first numbers. Huh. Oops.
虽说，
I'm in diphthong typing. Like
留学，
留学 to study abroad, to stay. Yeah, 留学 is still the same. Checks out. To stay to study, so you're staying where you study, right? Is to stay in another country in order to study, yeah. But the in another country is kind of deceptive here, because this is just stay and study. You have to get the idea of an abroad. There's no outside. Like why? Like why 留学 or 留外学, like to study, have to do staying outside studying, like foreign study, but it's interesting. It's been this way. You just remember it has to do with away. 留学留学生 Oh, yeah. 在英国留学1年 a year. Okay.
留学，买主，
买主 selling master. That makes sense. Is anyone looking to buy something and should be treated like a master if they want them to buy your goods? That's fair enough. The customer. Oh no, that's Finnish. Sung. Sung. I don't know what the third one is. Sung. 九找到了一位买主。
他终于找到了一位买主。
Oh, that's you. Oh, and that's 中 not 凶。终于找到了一位买主。Had to cough. Sorry. What the heck is that supposed to be? Something 早买主帮
寻找买主。
OK 寻找买主OK 买主
买主，算了，留学，买主，参加，
Oh my gosh, I need to stop doing that. Oh my goodness.
虽说，
that diphthong, I get OU and UO. It's because of how quickly my O comes out more than my U. Okay. 认清 Okay. To see clearly, I think is clear on this? Oh, it is on this. Okay, that's fine. I don't need to add it. Yeah, to recognize pure. Fine. To see clearly. I don't like that it's just see. Clear understanding, seeing clearly. I mean, we'll try to remember see, pivoting from recognize. 认清事物。No， 认清事物的本来面目。面目。
认清事物的本来面目。
Oh, no, it's just mu. Why did I think it was more? Oh, no. I'm confusing with something else. Yeah, mu. Should have stuck with gut. So, see clearly. 事物. Things. It's more like 事物. Yeah, okay. Things, subject, figurative. Things, original, 本来, original's appearance. So true appearance. Interesting. Where original's face look appearance. Yeah, that makes sense. I didn't get 面目 yet, but appearance makes sense. Face, eyes. 认清是非. Oh, what is right or wrong? See clearly what is right or wrong. 是非. That one's a special case. Oof. 是非. That's rote memory right there. Right and wrong.
认清王位
王位. The king's position is the throne, alright. Literally and figuratively, the throne. Fair enough. Honestly, I kind of want to add seat to position. Nah, it's fine. We'll see if it ever comes up. What the heck? That's a lot of cocoons. Succeed to the throne. Oh, like succession.
继承王位。
继承. Dang. Gee, that's a lot of cocoons. 继承王位. This is a cool looking character. 王位继承. 地强人 OK OK
王位，玩弄，
玩弄 Oh hey another 弄 玩弄 which is to play with, to play with, to play with is to play with. Has the same meaning as its characters to play and to play with. Yeah, I know. Okay. So we just, yes, that's the redundancy thing. 别玩弄那pen something be I don't know. Nope. The what the heck? The la? I don't know.
别玩弄那钢笔啦。
Oh, la. Okay. Gun. How are you gun? Man. Gun be. Okay. Gun be. I mean, can't go off that. Can't go off this. Okay. But you can go off la here. It's a silent la. Silenced la. I'm scarred by la. Gunby la. Maybe for the extra emphasis. Yeah, la is the extra emphasis. 别玩弄别玩弄那钢笔啦。玩弄 jeez
玩弄词句，
词句词句No dice. I'm surprised we don't have this yet. We have both the components. Or do we? I don't think so. What would that be? Casper? Casper in the beach house?
玩弄，爬上，
爬上 Yeah, to climb up. Instead of a mountain, just climb up. I guess to go up is gonna be too non-specific here. 他爬上了树。他爬上了树。香太高了，香太高了。我没爬上去。Yeah, I didn't climb up to the top. Interesting. To the top.
爬上，
Up part is important.
更好，
更好 because you could climb down as well. 更好 more good is better. I like it. Back to basics. 往后yeah 往后的日子会更好 Things will be better as time goes on. Oh 往后的日子 Interesting 会更好 Interesting. As time goes on.为了更好的明天 for a better tomorrow. 更好的明天 Here's why it's not the other way around. 明天的更好 Oh, wait. 为了 Oh, because it's for better. Yeah. 为了更好的明天 Okay.
更好，认清，
Ah! That's a typo. B and a P. Oh, almost did the 4-1 swap again.
更好，
Ah, that's a tone mix up. Tone mix up.
爬上， 王位，
Excuse me.
玩弄，
Right?
长生不老，
Okay.长生不老. Oh yeah, that's right. Immortal. Yes. 长生不老. Immortality. I think we should add in more. Uh, 世上不可能有长生不老. Is this HanziHero? Yeah, it's HanziHero. Right next to me. Or this way. This way. It's up this way. Looks like exactly like Wanikani. Kind of. I think the word exactly is probably a little too strong. No, 世上不可能有长生不老的人。长生不老 elixir 药。
长生不老药，
长生不老。
长生不老，称，
Oh, really? In what way is this name? All right. My comment about your looks exactly like Wanikani is kind of like saying if you put 3 boxes and there's a color box and a middle median and a bottom box, and yeah, no, but here, this is it. That's exactly what I mean. You're saying that it has purple for vocab. So if that means it looks exactly like Wanikani, then any instance where there's vocabulary with a purple slab divided by 3 lines makes it look exactly like Wanikani. You're gonna hit a lot of things that look exactly like Wanikani. That's neither Wanikani or HanziHero. So like, we're here to be a little bit more courteous than that, because you know we talked about Spanish and all that. But yeah, language is incredibly semantically inclined, and when someone says something looks exactly like something, it reveals a lot about what. There's an example, but the UI, exactly, it's not exactly like Wanikani. The word exactly is an exaggeration. And also, there are a lot more UIs that look like Wanikani and HanziHero before they even exist. So hopefully, it's about the details and not when one looks exactly like something. Hopefully, it's not cherry picking the one thing that you recognize. Kind of like in learning languages and whatnot. Hopefully. And by the way, it's a different color purple. So if you're thinking like purple for vocabulary, that's fair. But it's a different color purple. And this is a different color red. If we start generalizing what colors look like other colors, then most things look like most things. Yes, it's a very simplified UI that separates 2 things with a line. One with the colored accent at the top and one at the bottom. In fact, I think YouTube channels do the same thing, where the banner at the top is a colored elements at the bottom. So if you take away all the text, the UI would look very similar. Most websites using Squarespace also look similar in that way. Charlie Brown is in front of the English Manor. Charlie Brown is in front of the English Manor where he is showing the rich kids the various things he owns that are on a rack. So you're considering that as a modified rack. Oh, okay, I got you. On the immaculate lawn, there is a pair of cleats and a grain stalk. And he explains to the rich kids that each one has a name. The grain stalks? They think it is stupid. Call Charlie Brown a bad name and push over his rack of named things. Way. Chung or way to name something or to name. I'm not familiar with this character at all. Okay. So far. So we gotta remember that's a rack. Okay. So Charlie Brown in front of the English Manor, where he's showing the rich kids things he owned on the rack, and the rack has cleats and a grain stock, a singular grain stock. And he explains to each one. He explains to the rich kid that each one has a name. Oh, this one's gonna be tough. Okay. Oh, it does help that when the context is Ming Cheng. Oh, and a title. Cheng Hao. How does that work with Hao? A name ascribing. Okay. Or a title. A name title. Yeah, no way around it. It's just name. Fine. So rack has cleats and grain stalks, and they each have a name. Okay.
称
Cheng.
对
Dui. Oh, different Dui. This is for team. Kind of saw this coming. So team. We have a pig. Some horns. Actually, I don't even know if HanziHero has horns. And hills. Oh, wait, here it is. Dumbledore. Dumbledore is in the bathroom of the beach house on the bay, where he's preparing his team of horned pigs. Okay. Actually kind of checks out. He watched them in the bathroom. One of them jumps out of the window and proceeds to run up the hills, okay, of sand, because beach house, sand, that are along the bay as Dumbledore tries to cast capturing spells at it, okay. Team, no other use. In the synonym department yet. What are examples? Okay, sports team. 球队 orchestra 乐队 排队 oh yeah 排队 to line up. I think we can place group as well. Formation. 对 form. 对 form. I have no idea what form is yet. Hair and a gate. We don't have hair and gate. 队形 队形 and then member. No idea. 队勋 队员 okay 队员 all right.
对船
船 yep. Instead of fins, we have legs. Although they could be legs or fins, depending on the type set. Sort of, actually. In this case, they're legs. Yep, that checks out. I wonder how they describe this. This component depicts a small boat looking looking top down, right? So the drop at the top is the front of the boat, sure. And the two drops in the middle are two passengers with it, divided by a line that represents the oar. Oh, I see. All right, fair enough. Okay.
船
Fun. So Chucky is inside the pawn shop. Chucky is inside the pawn shop doing some not so great things. Where he is making a ship, okay, out of secondhand parts. He gets a small boat and attach legs to it so it can walk on land. Then attaches a mouth of a doll onto it so it can speak. He then hops into his new ship, brandishing his iconic kitchen knife, and calls it to march forward and out of the pawn shop. Well, that's a kind of stuff of nightmares. Have legs coming out of a boat and a mouth in the front. Alright. Ship in a boat. On spaceship. 飞船. Fei Chuan. Okay, Fei Chuan checks out. Flying ship. I don't know Mist and Lun. Oh, that's Lun. That's right. Lun Chuan. Chuan. Or. Holy heck. Chuan Jiang. Chuan Yue. Oh, Chuan Yuan. Oh, okay. We're kind of getting a feel of what Yuan is now. Chuan Yuan. What was the other one? Cheng Yuan. Or teammate or team member. Yeah. And then, oh yeah, Yi Chuan. Fishing boat. Okay.
船
Okay. This is Charlie Brown.
称
Okay. Chen 不老
长生不老
长生不老
船
Horned pigs in the hill. Gandalf. In the bathroom, preparing his team of horned pigs, but where was he? Pawn shop? It's not a pawn shop. I don't remember what the... Oh, it's Dumbledore. Oh my gosh, I keep getting Dumbledore and Gandalf. That's right. Oops. Oh, meaning. Dumbledore. Right, Dumbledore casting spells. This is a common problem between Dumbledore and Gandalf.
对
Yong. Eternity. Oh no, that is not where I was going. That's not where I thought they were gonna go with that. Oh, that's not gonna fly very well. Yoshi is in the basement. Yoshi is in the basement of the temple where he meditates with some other monks. Okay, Yoshi in the basement of the temple where he meditates with some other monks. How do I know it's a basement? Placed on the middle of the rock basement floor, okay, is half of a green spotted eggshell. All right, lore accurate. And some water drops into it from the ceiling. Has been doing this for an eternity, it seems. And Yoshi and the monks have been in the dark basement for an eternity, contemplating the endlessness of eternity, with the drops of water serving it as a metronome. Okay. Yoshi in the basement of the temple. Eggshell with water. Dripping for eternity. Contemplating about eternity. Okay, alright. And it can drip from the top because it's also in the basement. But what about Yoyong? Oh no. They don't? Oh, never. Yongbu, okay. Eternity, not, never. Okay. Fine. 永远. The distant eternity, forever. Alright, I get you. And then eternity itself. Yongheng. Yongheng. Alright, we'll stick with it for now. But my prototypic word for yong is yoyong, which is to swim. Ugh.
泳 句
Okay, Ji. I know this. Jizi is where the sentences come from, right? It's also Ji. Yeah, Jizi. A voice recorder. Oh no. Wait. What was the other one? Can? Okay, voice recorder. Sure, this component depicts a special container, right, with a mouth attached to it. It is a voice recorder that can record any sentence you want to say and play it back to you via the talking mouth. Okay. I mean, that checks out. Yeah, and it's part of G. Fingers? Modified fingers? And not sure if you're gonna list this as a different component. Bureau. A flag with a voice recorder attached to it. Interesting. Bamboo. Flowers. And a voice recorder. Careless. That's gonna be a tough one. Alright, some of these are getting a little wild. They add recorder.
句
Okay, G. Okay, Julius Caesar. Oh, we hadn't had a Julius Caesar in a while. J? J is probably the last time. Julius Caesar is in the bathroom of the house. Sure. Where he finds a voice recorder placed on top of the toilet lid. Okay, toilet lid is important. Toilet lid. He picks up and says a single sentence into it. Please remember this mnemonic, he says. He plays the sentence back to him with a voice recorder to ensure it is working. Oh yeah, and this can be tough because there's only one component. Okay. If there's anything you need to remember, it's that Julius Caesar, in the bathroom of his house, is telling you to remember this mnemonic. A single sentence. Please remember this mnemonic. Alright, I got you. Yeah, 句子 for sentence. 句点 a period. Oh. A sentence point. I think it actually means period, the punctuation period. Shi ju. I don't have that shi yet. The top is longer. What the heck? That's a soldier on top of a caliper. not soil on top of a caliper, which is a temple. That's not a temple. Or is it? Huh.
句
Okay.
赢
Okay, I got bamboozled multiple times by not remembering that this is part of Huangying, but now we're gonna get it down. Ying, to greet. Yoshi is inside the English Manor. Sure. Where he works. A car swerves from the road. Gotcha. And into the reception hall. Breaking through the door, Yoshi calmly greets them and accepts their box of postage stamps as their greeting gifts before leading them to the rich kid they seek. Oh. Wow. Yoshi's pretty baller. Yeah, welcome. It's Huangying. Yeah, Huangying. And then Ying. Yingjie. Yingjie. We're gonna stick to welcome.
赢
As a root.
金
Jing. Eyeball. Oh no, Yinjing. The other part of Yinjing. We got yin for eye. And now we have Yinjing. Okay, Jimmy Neutron. Right, Jimmy Neutron is in front of the English Manor. How many times was Jimmy Neutron? Okay, where he is doing an experiment. He plants a seed in the immaculate lawn that grows into a beanstalk. Kirby was in the same position too. Ching. But Kirby was spraying or observing the blue-green sky. Okay. He plants a seed in immaculate, grows into a beanstalk, the top of which has a huge moon, once again, looking pod. It hatches in a floating eyeball. Floating eyeball comes out and over to Jimmy and looks him over. Jimmy can't believe his eyeballs. Okay, so there's a chance I could get this confused with the mnemonic for Ting, which is Kirby climbing up the beanstalk to spray the moon to make it pure, right? Make it clear and pure. And then there's also neither of these, which is Ting, which is also a greenish Kirby climbing up the beanstalk of the moon. And you only see it like once in a blue moon. So hence blue. Or green. Green. Or making it green. Oh, okay. We got these sorted out. Fine. And then you have Yanjing. Yes, we have Yin. Yanjing, Yin also is this also considered eye? I better look at this. Yeah, it's eye and an eyeball. Okay. So the left one, Yin, was Yoshi. Yanjing was in the have silver and eyes. Yoshi was in the basement of the pawn shop trying on a hat or shoes. Yeah, shoes. Silver shoes that have eyeballs drawn on them. Or eyes drawn on them. Oh, jeez. Ding Jing? Ding. Ding Jing. Fix one's gaze. Oh, that makes sense. Oh, okay. We don't have Ding yet, do we? Dollhouse. Dollhouse with A pointer? No. No. To rub one's eye. Roll? Roll 眼睛. Okay. I guess that's rub. We don't have those components names yet either. Okay.
经
Jing. Right. This is Jimmy Neutron. Jimmy Neutron going planting a beanstalk. Beanstalk grows up. And an eyeball comes out of the moon. Okay. Alright. Alright. We got this.
Ying
Eh? Excuse me.
Yong
Heck. Heck. Voice recorder. Please remember this div. Wait. Please remember this mnemonic, right? Julius
Gee.
Caesar. uh. Oh, and it was the sentence. Please remember. Oh, jeez. Oh, jeez.
经
Alright. So we gotta lock in now. Alright. Time to lock in. Boy.
Zhu Ping
Uh. I misread the right hand again. That's fine.
大师
谢谢大师。
寿
Don't receive accept.
有又是
今天又是一个雨天。
青春
我经常想起我的青春。
Dress. Beanstalk.
表 闻名，
这个品牌全国闻名。
喝酒，
你会喝酒吗？
坏人，
他不是一个坏人。
必要，
没那个必要吧？
是 I'm looking for 是 there. Fork. What was the other fork? Was that the other? Is the other fork a claw? Whoops. I typed Google there.
爬，
是
忽视，
不要忽视健康问题。
交给，
信是我当面交给他的。
他，春假，
春假开始了。
更加，
问题更加复杂了。
网站，
汉字英雄是个很棒的网站。
眼，自来水，
这里的自来水能喝吗？
外交，
外交通向和平。
外国，
你去过外国吗？
Gotta make sure. Wait, how is this Kermit the Frog in the basement of electricity? Man, what is he doing with a spike and mouths? Am I being a pep?
可见，
远处的建筑物可见。
I'm gonna have to... Yeah. Oh no. I don't know why it's ke. Okay. That's fine, I guess. I had problems with this yesterday too. Ke? No, not ke. A cape, crown, and mouth, right? It's like defending. Someone is putting on a cape to defend people from the ground. The mouths coming out of the ground. Was sure. Oh. It's it's Hasper? No. It's SpongeBob.
司机，
我是计程车司机。
Take charge of defending.
以下，
房间里温度是10度以下。
加，
I actually don't remember what Jimmy Neutron is doing with the mouth and muscular arms. In front of him is a massive pile of muscular arms, and Jimmy is going to add them up with just a single look. He opens his mouth and says 42, which is right. Nope.
色，纸，
Empress and Foreman. Oh, this is the calculating thing, right? The flip? Oh, the left side is incorrect. I was supposed to type SH. Whoops. My bad.
公司，
公司给他一
Nope.
以上，
这里有10个人以上。
可是，
这里很美，可是太冷了。
Oh there, Hui. Brush, health stick. Bathroom, though. Bathroom. Stretch, yeah.
剑，木，交朋友，
很容易交朋友。
行人，
行人走便道。
Can't spell pedestrian. Since you weren't here, I absolutely disagree, but that checks out from how you reductively talk about other things, so no, I did not see the PP record. I don't keep track of that or watch those things anymore. No, I did not. Is that what you come here to say? Hi. Arcade combs, yeah.
而是，
他不是老师，而是学生。
签，网页，
这个网页有很多游戏可以玩。
难受，
我的胃很难受。
What did I disagree with? Overgeneralization.
骑，
It's probably one of the main things that I make commentary on these days. Overgeneralization. Yes, Twitch. I think it is very difficult to have discussions and appreciations for lots of different topics and to be like open-minded if one practices and consistently speaks in overgeneralization. Call it an act of futility. However, I think the internet does a perfectly fine job at constantly reinforcing the use and overuse of generalizations in order to promote efficient point making and conversations. However, I am not here for overgeneralizations and short conversations and discussions. I'm typically here to promote thoughtful speaking and observations. Right. So, will that ever change by the internet? I don't think so. Probably not. I mean, you want to get to your stuff and consume your stuff and talk to people with as little detail as possible, right? So, motivations, behavior, observations, troubleshooting, critical thinking. It's more like thinking, less critical, more thinking in general, right? Thinking generally versus critical thinking. I could provide some examples like, Osu. Osu is a rhythm game. That's kind of like Stepmania, right? So I played Stepmania. I definitely have played Osu then. Or, oh hey, this is another language learning app. It looks exactly like the other language learning app because they're both language learning apps. That's kind of the type of disagreement that I had earlier. So whataboutisms lend to strengthening those types of arguments too. Like, man, this tool really sucks. Well, it doesn't suck as much as this tool. Or, if you're a native speaker, for example, if you're a native speaker, say your native language is French, since I don't see any French peeps lately. If your native language is French, and then this French person told you something like, oh, all you English speakers always generalize this French thing. That's a you know, a hypocritical statement. The reason why all you English speaking people generalize this French thing is because of generalizations made using exactly what they're generalizing. So when you get to the point where you meet a lot of people who genuinely care about the nuances of their language, providing double standards by using generalizations is a great way to keep aware of our generalizations. I'm not saying that generalization is bad. I use generalizations, but being aware that you do use generalizations, and then someone who has more experience or intimate relationships with something would beg to differ, right? So that's kind of my thought. So while I appreciate loving to talk about how are different dialects and accents and things with the Spanish language, for example, I also take that to heart, that when someone makes an overgeneralization about something they don't care about, or they care less about, or know less about, that they are aware that someone who uses the product will likely disagree with them because they have more experience with that product, right? And that goes with playing a Souls game and thinking a game is a Souls game, right? If you go to someone who loves Souls game, you're probably gonna get the same lecture about, oh, well, this isn't Dark Souls. It's a soul-like game, but it's not Dark Souls, for example. And I think that's where we were hitting the remark about disagreements. Let's see. Stab, heart, dagger, heart. Try to pull it out with a fork. So that's a fork too. They're both forks. Interesting. Jimmy Neutron in the house.
急
Anxiety or anxious. Or why do I think it's 4? Oh, because he might be in the bathroom doing it. Beach house. Was it beach house?
味
Or flavor?
弄错
你弄错了。
心
I mean, you can have mutual disagreements, knowing that there are two people coming from different perspectives. You would just like to add that Stepmania and Osu are nothing alike? Of course. I played Osu long enough to appreciate that they're nothing alike. I chose Os because you mentioned Os. So we had to mention something that you're familiar with. I mentioned Spanish because Nico's familiar with Spanish. And I mentioned things that are important that I remember about people. So as to create the same feeling, right? Sometimes when you hop into someone's stream or something like that, or when you hop into someone's hobby, the other person might feel very differently, and it's always worth mentioning it. No, they're rhythm games, so they must be the same. Yes, it says Fictitious the troll. Come on, Fictitious. Low-hanging fruit. We need to think of another example, like anime is animated, right? So they're for kids. That's a good one. Still hear that quite a bit in my like environment. Yeah. And anime is cartoons like Disney. So clearly all anime is made for kids. Right? Because they look the same. They pretty much look the same. They have hand drawn or a lot of them. A lot of them are hand drawn. They have colors and they're not real. So JoJo and Pixar are the same. All right. That might be we might have just started a yeah, Fictitious is joking. I know Fictitious. I mean, he likes to chime in when the iron is hot. So 戒
早就
啊，
他早
早就
就回家了。
有 Long ago. Oh, this is already, but it's long ago, right? Yeah, long ago. Already long ago. That's the modifying.
拉
Oh, they're hooks. No. Honestly, I'm kind of curious. If everyone were given an assignment right here, given an assignment, and you drew on this assignment, right? So, if I were to give someone a number line, right? When does something stay the same? And when is something considered different? Because to me, this is how the internet normalizes things. As opposed to thinking of it like this, where this point is same and this point is different. Right. So I think this is what I feel. It's not extremely arbitrary. Well, this is extremely arbitrary. You're right. This is extremely arbitrary. This is less arbitrary. And then when you add more points to it, it's even less arbitrary. And when you have this dimension, this is between someone who cares and who doesn't care. Or, no, the other way around. Sorry. And by care, I don't mean vicariously. I mean self-interest. So like XP, like no XP, or less XP, right? Because this is a continue line too. So like let's add a continuum. So for those who don't care, it would be divided in half, right? But for those who care about caring, would view it like this, right? So this is less arbitrary. This is, wait, is this even visible? Sort of visible. Hold up, I need to move this over here. So this is for people who care about caring, right? So if you're not as concerned, so let's say you don't play Osu, so not Os player. Not Os player. This is the view of the not Os player. And this would be a Osu player. However, remember that if you apply caring gradient, then there's a whole range of not caring and caring Osu players. So then it wouldn't be just a not Osu player and an Osu player. There will be a very high playing Osu player, a very frequent Osu player versus a less frequent Osu player. So what are these words? Now we're talking about English, right? I'm a language learner, so I like to think about English. So what is this? It's the same as saying exactly versus similar. Similar is on a spectrum to like across the board, right? Similar in how much. And at some point this also becomes arbitrary, because then you have unfamiliar. Or you could say different at the very far end, right? I mean, you might even add modifiers like totally different versus slightly different. So yeah. What does this tell me though? Like, how is this functionally informative to me? I use these languages. I use these like words, keywords to ascertain how much people actually care about a topic and not care about a topic, or in what continuum. And then the frequency of the words they use associate with the specific topic tells me the gradient of how much they care about the topic. Right? It might not always hit, obviously. I'm not saying this is a 100%, but generally speaking, this is one of my like diction choices. Now, we do have to take into account there are also assumptions being made here. Assumptions are that they have the same command of the English language, right? English is an important thing to take into consideration, and that creates noise. So obviously it doesn't always hit because there are people who may not have the same English competency. And one thing to normalize why I can do this type of thing is because the internet is a normalizing factor. The English dominant internet normalizes and pre-selects a lot of factors for using this type of language. Yeah. So if you go into another place, like say listen to John Green or Hank Green, you'll probably see less exactly same, totally different, always, never. They usually say something that's less arbitrary. Not that this is a big deal. I don't think it's too big of a deal. When we're on the internet, it might become a big deal when you have like a significant other or a family member, you know, people you want to have close by, right? People who you trust. You talk about the non-arbitrary things. However, that kind of relationship doesn't develop between people online. So you kind of expect these generalizations online most of the time. So it's not like I'm angry or upset or anything. And I hopefully feel that other people understand that they also participate in this. So getting close to someone or learning and having deeper discussions come with first speaking with more detail, right? If you don't speak with more detail, then yeah, you probably won't make too many friends online, and that's perfectly fine, because I don't think people online typically expect that anyway, right? If here's one that is innocent. Here's a behavior that's innocent, especially on multiple languages, both Japanese channels, Chinese. Well, no, it's hard to find Chinese channels, but Japanese channels, Chinese channels, and then English is often when I ask someone like, "How are you?" If you say you're okay, then it ends there. And that's it. That's the end of the discussion. And that's a generalization. Now, whether you want to talk more about it is probably more likely to happen with your close friends and your family members. I don't think the internet encourages that type of conversation or have the time of day for that type of conversation. But it kind of bleeds into everything else. So perhaps one day will smile about how someone comes into your whatever you're doing, right? Whatever you're doing. Like you spend hours and years learning a language, and then they tell you, yeah, you basically just need to use Anki and then you'll become fluent. It's the same thing, you know? You're learning vocabulary. That's all there is to language learning. I'm kidding. But I feel like that's more in our wheelhouse right now for language learning. Just know everything. Well, we'll try. We'll try to just know everything. Come on. Okay. Back to this. How do I screw this up? 小 They just trying to help? You don't think I know that? What do you think I'm doing? You're defending, so they're just trying to help, right? That's a generalization. So are you generalizing my critique as well? I mean, I know they're just trying to help, but you know I'm trying to get to know it. These things, when you share these things, you get to know each other. No? Oh, really? Explain. Explain why they just trying to help by making a comment about something I'm doing. Remember, this context is someone saying that something looks exactly like something else that I'm using. So if you're trying to generalize by saying they're just trying to help, is that not generalizing? In my opinion, what is the more effective tool in learning Japanese? What is the most effective tool in learning Japanese? Motivation. Motivation, genuine curiosity, and critical thinking. Okay, that's 3 things. So we'll say motivation for self-improvement is the most effective tool in learning Japanese. It's a tool that gets rusty without practice. It is also a tool that everyone is born with, however many extent there is. Oh, okay, so all right, so now if you're okay, so what about in websites or app usage? So if we limit to websites and app usage, it will be the tool that allows you to be consistent and ever curious, or in other words, motivated. That is the most effective tool, probably. What that app or website looks like, I cannot answer that question because I don't actually know everyone in the world and how they feel and background and stuff. So it's whichever website or app that is capable of keeping you consistent, satisfied, and motivated to be curious about language learning Japanese. It's not a site or an app that keeps you dependent on its app and website and keep you locked into that tool. So if you have something that is strongly, consistently forcing you or emotionally, mechanically, pragmatically to become completely dependent on that site, then I would say that is not one of the most effective tools in learning Japanese. Unless, and there is one big asterisk, unless, which is what most people look for, right? Because they think of it the other way. Unless that website and app has everything in the known universe about Japanese and knows you, and they're your friend, they're your family member, they're also your best friend's native speaker, then yes, it would be that website or app. But I don't know what that website or app is because it doesn't exist, in my opinion. Largely because natural languages are not comprehensible, like comprehensively comprehensible. So it's whichever website that has that characteristic. But this random Twitter user told me Anki is all you need. That's great. I hope it worked out for you. Anki forces you to do reps every day because if you don't, then your review will pile up. Then it becomes incredibly hard to finish all your reviews. So you're then forced to do your reviews every day so that doesn't happen and your reviews don't overflow. It keeps you going. It's a force of consistency, but it also is a force of dependency. I mean, again, if Anki is that website or app that you believe has all the knowledge of the known universe regarding the Japanese, learning Japanese, then you yourself will believe that it is the most effective tool in learning Japanese. I do not believe that, so therefore I wouldn't say Anki for myself. Now, I use many tools and all of them they motivate me to some extent. However, since Spinach asked what websites or apps, but if you go back and ask what is the most effective tool in learning Japanese, is the tool I bring to all the tools I use, which is motivation, self-improvement, critical thinking, problem solving. So regardless of what the tool does, it's in addition to what I can already do. So I look for tools to help me learn something. I don't look for a tool that I need forever. So I hope that I'm not completely dependent on any one tool. I use tools to make things convenient for me, not the other way around. So the most effective tool to learning Japanese is here and here. That's, sentimentally here, right? Here and here. But if you think the tool defines you, that's tool dependency. So if you become dependent on a tool and you can't step away from it, for example, Duolingo is very good, very, very good at making you dependent, right? It makes motivation easy to get, incentives easy to get, dopamine easy to get. Now, the question is, do people have trouble quitting that or moving on or growing out of it? I would argue yes, it does, because it creates tool dependency. That's no different from Anki, Wanikani, and HanziHero. It's dependency. So it's up to you to know when you're too dependent on something and not dependent on something. And the most effective tools are the ones that convince you that they are effective. Right? So to me, I think I typically think about what I'm able to use a tool for, not the other way around. Like what tool is required for me to acquire something. A tool is an extension of myself, not the other way around. Anki doesn't have all the information, but you can add it all by yourself. Fair enough. So where's that coming from, Hui? Is it coming from Anki or is it coming from you? Or is it coming from somewhere else? So when you're adding all that information, that's not coming from Anki. So Anki is not where is the thing that has all you need. Coming from the books you read. That includes the books you read. So that is not coming from Anki. And who's transferring all of that information from the books to Anki? You are. You are the tool. Not in like a derogatory way, but you are using problem solving and critical thinking skills to transfer what you're reading to the Anki, right? To the Anki deck. So that is the most effective tool in learning a language. The person who's synthesizing the tools is the most effective tool. So, in my opinion, the nice thing about learning a language is that maybe, when you tackle problems of language learning, you realize that you're the person that's in charge of learning the language. That you develop problem-solving skills and critical thinking necessary to synthesize whatever is needed in order to learn a difficult thing, which is a task for life, which is language learning. So when like, for example, Krashen, because people like Krashen's work, whenever he goes around and gives a seminar to like schools to preserve secondary language learning, right, in classes and formal education, oftentimes the presented agreement is that it encourages people to understand how to problem solve and critical think. When you go to school, the idea is to challenge you in many different ways so that you can be able to do these things. So in the long run, when you're learning something, it ends up being, it's not really dependent on the tool, but whatever is convenient. Yeah, you find Anki encourages to find out the new information by yourself, unlike Duolingo. I disagree with that on the Anki side of things, but that's because the source is not coming from Anki. You're to me, you're internalizing what Anki is versus who uses Anki. So Duolingo only wants you to use their app and only the information inside that app. That is also not true, but I'll give it to you on face. So you're using only, and you're using like zeros and ones. So you're dividing it into this again, right? Ones and zeros. So Anki doesn't do this. Anki is a flashcard platform. The users do this. The people who use this platform use the most effective tool are other people. It's not Anki. Just like Hui is not using Anki to get more information. Hui is integrating other information into Anki. It's the user that encourages others. Duolingo is not a user platform in that way. So yes, you would kind of expect it to stay inside, but that's also not true because Duolingo has podcasts and blogs and channels, which you, as someone that probably don't use Duolingo, probably don't care about. So then you would put it in the zero column. You're not too familiar about them. Of course you aren't. Because when someone says only, the word only, always, never, and then you decide, hey, it's great to summarize 10 million people, 10 million plus people to only, then yes, probably not too familiar about them. In fact, I just listened to my first Spanish podcast off of Duolingo Spanish, and it talked about movies that we should watch. So the podcast was about Spanish movies or shows that I could watch. Yeah. Not okay. That was a little aggressive. My bad. That's a little aggressive, right? I totally agree with you. That's what it looks like for most people that I've talked to. And the most people that I've talked to are people who dislike Duolingo. So they see another Duolingo user and then they tell that Duolingo user that I'm garbage. That is one of the generalizations, right? Because I don't use Anki. So since I don't use Anki, they don't know that I don't use something like Anki. So Anki users deliberately go and target Duolingo users, right? No, not you. Or you're taking this personally. I'm using generalizations now as well. So this is what happens when the role is reversed. So now I'm going to use generalizations. I don't use Anki, right? So that means I can't possibly know the spectrum of Anki users, right? Now we have to divide the spectrum of Anki users. For those who are malicious against Duo, and those who, they're apathetic. Or maybe even positive. Actually, you know what? We should change this up. So maybe they're neutral. This is the neutral position. And they're positive about Duo, right? And from my perspective, since I don't use Anki, most of my experience with Anki users are over here. Right? Right? So there are some people that I've met that are neutral to Duolingo. And then occasionally, there's a few outliers who use both Anki and Duo. Right? Occasionally. But this is me. Largely because I use Duolingo. So my self-selection for the type of people are anyone who targets Duolingo, anyone who has strong opinions about Duolingo. So there are some positive people who are very charged on one end, but largely it's malicious towards Duo. Now, malicious in the sense of which someone said earlier, they are just trying to help. And what I mean by that is they're not malicious towards me. Like, they're not angry at me. They are not malicious at me. They are malicious towards Duolingo. They're trying to help me. Right? So they are kind. They're just trying to help me while attacking Duolingo. Right? So for me, luckily for me, I don't identify myself as a Duolingo user. But if you start talking about Anki and you talk to these people, they will typically identify as an Anki user. Now, why is that the case for identification? I would agree, statistically, most people identify with their tool. Most people identify with their tool because they become dependent on that tool, right? Why are there people malicious towards a $1 billion corporation? It's a $1 billion corporation. There's a lot of things malicious towards it. Like, if you give me $1 billion, there are $1 billion reasons why people are malicious towards a $1 billion corporation. Let's talk about sample size. So now we have sample size, right? What's the $1 billion question? Well, let's not even go with money. Let's go with 1 million users. So if 1 million users has a distribution, right? It has a distribution. What are the chances that any one person will self-select themselves into a group? Well, if Anki users is a whole magnitude smaller, say 100K, I don't know. These numbers are made up, but I know at least that the Duo population is greater than the Anki population. If you were to take a wager, which one would have more self-selection into differing groups? Provided that they're not strongly targeting an audience. And I can tell you, even if we take that into consideration, Duo will likely have a more diverse audience than Anki. So Duo is using casual forwarders, and they're addressing a fundamental deficiency. Yeah, Anki has more self-selection. Yes. The likelihood is Anki has more self-selection. So there are fewer groups, fewer different types of groups. So their distribution has fewer subsets of groups. In Duo, you just said why do people have malicious towards a $1 billion corporation? Well, Duo is a casual, and it addresses foundational things that everyone has an opinion on. What is that foundational thing that everyone has an opinion on? Source of motivation, consistency, boredom, fun. You have more opinions about motivation, consistency, and fun, which is the core principle, the core mechanic that Duo relies on, versus Anki. What does Anki focus on? They focus on content specific things, right? If you're curious, this is a biased opinion. This is a biased hot take. Going back to spinach, a comment. They asked me, what is my opinion the most effective tool in learning Japanese? It's something that's foundational to everyone. Everyone that's a human being, that's not a sociopath, right? That doesn't have any sociopic deficiencies. A normal human being will have to tackle all of these questions, these foundational questions every single time, and they'll all have an opinion on it. Every single person that is empathetic or emotional to some extent will have an opinion on how motivation, consistency, and fun is achieved. So no matter what the statistics, however you look at it behaviorally, Duo will have more mixed opinions than Anki by design. Because Anki is primarily self-selected, and Anki, the platform itself, is not responsible for the content. The users who self-select themselves is responsible for the content. So when you use Anki, you are more likely to be satisfied with using Anki because you, the user, is taking ownership of your learning. It's all on you. Anki is a great tool to help you remember things that you want to remember. So all the stuff that you're doing, your choosing. You think these things are important. You find someone else who also think these are important. So therefore, you're satisfied with the user who agrees with you, not Anki. Anki is a platform. Duo is not that type of platform. Duo is prescribing, right? Duo is telling you what you need to know. Duo prescribes something for you. So whether you like it or not, take it or leave it. That's it. So in fact, I would even argue that Anki has a more consistent outcome than Wanikani, because Wanikani is slightly prescribed. There's a prescribed way. And what do Wanikani's community do all the time when they use Wanikani long enough? They try to create third-party API. Because they want, whoops, I said API twice. The third-party API. Because they want to convert it into something they want. And that flexibility lets them do it. Wanikani is still overall positive because their API allows it to be customizable. So when it's customizable, more positive self-selection. HanziHero does really well too, because HanziHero, Kevin, he takes on all of the suggestions. So this HanziHero is feature rich. When you go to the option in all the beta testing, in all the different functions, it's trying to become Anki in features. So that features enable users to determine what the content is. Right? So like how frequently a card shows up, so the feature set, yes, is ascribed to Anki. But what you're actually gaining for learning Japanese is content you have chosen to learn. When you ask an Anki person, how do you learn Japanese? They will cite a deck. That deck is created by a user. It wasn't created by Anki. It's created by a user. The user that most people agree with. Like, I don't know, was it like Kashi or something? Or like the 4K and the 2K or the 6K thing? However it goes. I don't use Anki, so these are the buzzwords that people tell me. So it is a user that created the content. It's not Anki. Anki did not do anything. You guys are the thinkers. The language learners are the thinkers. In my opinion, this might sound very... Here's a really hard hot take. Alright? You guys are smart. You know, you are smart. Not a tool. So, yeah, those are community-made decks. Yeah. So, these are community-made decks. So, what I'm saying is, not only do I not think that there's the most effective tool to help people learn, I actually think most of the time the source of the most effective way of lifelong commitment to a skill is actually the people you care about and the people who cares as much as you to create a product. And this is a chicken or the egg question. Why do I use HanziHero, for example? Because I trust Kevin, the developer, and Phil, his brother. I trust them. So sometimes, yeah, you can get angry at a product. Right? You can get angry at a product despite knowing that there are people that make the product. Now, someone is going to come in and say, well, what about AI stuff? And I'm like, data sets. Where do you think AI gets the ideas? It's a data set. So now you have to think about pre-selection on data sets. Until then someone will say, what about generative AI? And I'm gonna say, I'm probably have passed away by the time this happens. So I can't really tell you. It's of no concern to me because I can't even fathom that. Someone else has to go, well, wouldn't you use Anki if you trust it yourself since you said it's user made? Yes. You would trust yourself to use Anki. That's one of the first barriers. That's one of the first barriers to using Anki or using a custom platform. Do you know what you want? To me, personally, as an advice, this is like a blanketed anecdotal advice. It's not professional advice. But if you can't answer these questions, using a flexible platform can become overwhelming and you would drop it very quick for a prescribing platform temporarily in order to develop enough experience to know what you want, and then you go back to that platform. So, do you know what you want? Do you know how you're going to leverage all the scheduling? Do you know where you are in your competence? Like for CI, for example. Do you know where your competence rating is? Where are you starting? These things in a flexible, the more flexible a platform is, the more overwhelming it's going to be. Right? The more overwhelming. We're talking about degrees now, not that it will be overwhelming, but it will feel more overwhelming the less you know about what you want, because you don't trust, nor do you have the competence. In order to trust yourself, you would also need a feeling of competence, right? The more incompetent you are, the more likely that you're less likely to trust yourself. With one big asterisk. There's one big asterisk about trusting yourself. There's also the idea of arrogance, right? Pride, and crosstalk. And where are these coming from? For example, someone who's an expert at another field might have pride, arrogance, and crosstalk from that expertise of that field to think they are more competent than they really are. So yes, this is a big asterisk. I'm gonna ignore that for the moment, right? Or we're just gonna use it for brevity's sake. So outside of like personal human conditions like arrogance, pride, and crosstalk, the main barrier for Anki is use something. If you have no idea what you want, you need a direction, right? One would want some sort of direction. Try it out. If that direction sucks, then you at least know you don't want that, right? So where do people go? Duo. And Duo reveals to you all the pluses and minuses, and you start there, and eventually those two people actually end up getting into Anki at some point. But was it possible without Duo? Certainly. It's certainly possible without Duo. It could be anything. The idea is Duo's presence is really high, so naturally Duo will be the thing you grow out of. Presumably. But there are criticisms that I have about Duo, and I made them pretty clear. Duo is still strongly, like someone said about comparing Anki and Duo, Duo still strongly on the surface create dependency. And that strong dependency is often targeting people who have low motivation, lack of self-awareness, and not lack of self-awareness in general. We're talking about lack of self-awareness when it comes to learning. So not like, oh, am I sad? Am I happy? Emotional awareness? No, more like I haven't learned anything in a very long time, and I'm afraid learning a new language is very hard and I'm not sure if I can do it. So where do I start? Duolingo tries to address low motivation, lack of self-awareness, lack of understanding of what it's like to start learning again, learning another language. And these are foundations. They're so strong. They permeate underneath pretty much all the aspects of human experiences. So naturally, the dependency goes really high. And what does this correlate with? When you break up with a high dependency, it becomes hate, extreme, betrayal, over expectations. Much like an Anki user who only uses Anki. When you become heavily dependent on something, you are also emotionally dependent on it now. So the more it compensates for the need or less need, convenience of needing to be more self-aware and understanding and constantly starting new things and learning new things and being curious about other things, if you stick with something, it creates dependency. And when you break up with that dependency, you go through a withdrawal period. And withdrawal periods can kind of look like grief. It can kind of look like grief. Grief, right? Where's the strongest element of grief in life? Losing a loved one. What about your significant other? When you lose your significant other, the longer it goes, the more emotionally dependent you are. And it can easily form vicariously and parasocially between people who don't even acknowledge each other's existence. Like, for example, a great example of this parallelism is influencers. They create dependency. There's no checks and balance for this. So no checks and balance, as in no responsibilities or obligations, formally or legally. Yet, big asterisk yet. And when that dependency gets betrayed, it leads to polarized behavior, hatred. Right? You, the person who followed, say, a celebrity female, charming, charismatic person, and then that person turns out to not represent something, any little thing that they have. That betrayal is reflexive of the double edge of how dependent that person has become. So when you're having parasocial relationships, very strong parasocial relationships with someone, it is well in your due diligence, you yourself, be able to control and understand that when that person is no longer part of your life, even though they might not even know you exist, like a tool, Anki doesn't know you exist in the sense of human awareness, consciousness, and Duolingo doesn't know you exist in the sense of human consciousness, right? So when that product betrays you, who is doing the betraying? So when you hate a product, that's acceptable, I suppose. Like, you hate the product for what it is, right? And in my opinion, the most constructive way and productive way you can use that information is to understand that that's a reflection of yourself. Now, there are some alarming trends of younger people. So we're talking about adults. I don't usually talk about super young people, but we're talking about adults now, right? Most of the stuff I'm talking about are people who are able to make their own choices. Own choices, have some semblance of critical thinking, right? And awareness. Now take that all away. And now we think about anyone who's younger than 18. And then now we have a different question in mind. And that's really controversial right now. It's very divisive and it worries me to no end all the time, especially when people who are now 20s who act like they are less than 18. As in, what I mean is there are people who are there in their mid 20s that lack the experience that someone who is now currently in their 40s/30s have had over their lifetime. There are lots of 20-year-olds do not have this experience anymore. The experience of making your own choices, being aware of your own critical thinking capacity, and all of these negotiations. So now we're thinking about the internet, and there is a very divisive hot topic right now. Hot topic regarding how young is it before you determine the ability to have choice making, basic critical thinking, and foundational self-awareness that's provided by probably parents, right? Parents, school, meeting other people, before you go online and decide an algorithm is able to decide one-track mind your way to learning Japanese. Because I don't know what that's like. I'm beginning to understand what it's like now for other people. I'm beginning to understand why it's like what it's like to learn a language online and becoming dependent on a tool. Because boy howdy, Duolingo is like light years of convenience compared to how I learned my first language and my second language. Technically, I still use those languages, and technically I learned something about them using probably a less effective tool, right? Like that's pretty it's pretty reasonable to say that when I was, 16 years old to 21, tools gotten better. After 20 years, I think it's fairly reasonable to think that the methods of 20 years ago hopefully had some change in the future. So in no way am I saying that if you're focused on efficiency, or like, I don't know, learning Japanese, for example, or learning Chinese, that 20 years ago, they were more efficient. They are less likely to be efficient. However, they are also different now. So what did 20 years ago rely on? What are qualities of the learner? What do they rely on compared to what do they rely on now? So yes, I'm starting to understand why people think that the tool defines the user. I get it. I actually quite get it. Versus you rely on yourself. Everything else is to help you, right? It's a different story. And hear me out. One thing that I would say that tracks really well with this is how people explain things. When I talk to my friends and ask them, oh, okay, so how do you go about this process? They would say, well, okay, let's integrate this thing and this thing. And I found that from my experience, I could integrate this part of this tool and mesh with this tool in order to create a methodology that fits and suits my needs and wants, right? Versus someone who says, oh, you want to learn Japanese? Use Anki. Don't use Duolingo. Use Anki. Less like Duolingo, but more like Anki, and maybe a splash of Wanikani with a splash of Genki and a splash of podcasts. Oh, this specific person's podcast. Oh yeah, and don't forget, look up comprehensible input. Oh, did I mention you should use this very specific tool that uses graded readers? And all I heard was buzzwords, 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 and no explanation of how they work for the person. So that person was just trying to help, right? You totally get that. You totally get they're trying to help. And at the same time, my pragmatic side would tell me they legitimately didn't tell me anything about how it actually works. Like there's no explainer. Because in the world of the internet, it's based on generalizations. So when someone says, "Oh, you're gonna love this game. It's a Souls-like game." Like I don't understand. Like, how am I supposed to like this game because it's a Souls-like game? It's like, well, you're playing a Souls-like game. I'm like, okay, so if this is a Souls-like game, you're telling me that I'm going to like that other game because it's just like this game? It's like, yeah, it is. And then you go play it, and like, wait, this isn't just like this game. It's not exactly like this game. It's you can see it feels familiar, but it's not the same. And then you go into the meme about same but different, right? I'm a little complicit on that too. Same but different situation. And we go back to the internet meme. So there you have it. I was gonna write something about this when I talk about Wanikani and HanziHero in the future, so I already have some of this stuff prepared for the 100-day review coming up. But anyways, but as time has passed, as you're familiar yourself, you have started to trust yourself more, and so now you make cards yourself. Awesome. When you were new, you didn't, so you use community mates such as to figure out what you trust, right? So you can still make it work. Okay, I'm not saying that all people have different levels of background, and that background, and maybe you can factor in genetics if you want. We're not really using genetics here. Your background gives you a basal level, like however much amount of familiarity. Now, with that familiarity, you can still make things work regardless of where your starting point is. What I'm saying most of the time is I'm basing it on the statistical likelihood, right? Statistical likelihood. And so therefore I view things on a distribution, right? Like it's a continuum. It's not like you fail, you win, you succeed. Most of the time when I think about learning, I'm thinking about how likely something's going to happen, how unlikely something's going to happen. But that is purely on conjecture. It's purely based on how many factors, variables I can take into consideration. And in no way does it predict an absolute fail or an absolute success. However, on the internet, this is how it's done in order to simplify conversations. You simplify conversations by removing the nuance. So in no way am I not surprised, Hook, that you started trusting yourself after understanding and being exposed to things that you may or may not trust. Now you have a really well-developed way to make your own deck. And you, yourself, can become one of those community members, right? So what is Anki did for you? Well, Anki made it possible for community members to share their ideas, right? And those community members shape future community members. And you could end up being a community member that contributes back to the community member using the same platform. And that's kind of what's cool about tools. When tools become a platform, that flexibility and feature set can enable humans to do fantastic things. So the most effective tool is you. That's being too generalization. That's generalizing a little bit too much. But I really want to emphasize this to conclude this digression for today, is that I find it incredibly disheartening, in my opinion. I find it incredibly disheartening that people sell themselves short. When someone says, well, wouldn't you trust yourself? Well, when someone goes around and say, I can't possibly learn a language this way, I can't possibly learn a language that way, I need something to do this for me in order to learn, I need this, that adds to the level of distrust. So the more often you ask yourself, I'm concerned, is distrust. The closer you say like, oh, I think I can make this work. Let's just start now, right? Let's just start and see where it goes. Or maybe I'll learn something. I'm pretty sure I'll at least learn what I don't like. Then you'll start to trust yourself, right? And trust is not, is associated with so many things. Trust also has level of competence and incompetence. And oftentimes, but not always, of course, right? Oftentimes, distrust, incompetence also may lead to or be associated with inaction, dependency, versus proactive, being proactive, as in you take the action and trust yourself that you'll make a learning experience from it. Being proactive, you take action with less prep as well. So there are other trade-offs. Like, this is painting a one-sided argument, but when you have distrust, incompetence, inaction, dependency, you also have diligence and not diligent. The word would be is kind of complacent sometimes. So there are trade-offs, right? There are two sides of the coin for most things, but you're on a continuum. You're on a continuum. Because when you're incompetent, or you feel you're incompetent, and you're dependent, and you're have a distrust of self, you'll have a heightened diligence. You want to find all the information in the world before you start, right? The more information you find, the closer and closer you feel that you can reach a level of competence in order to trust yourself, right? So I wanted to balance it out, because it sounds like being on one side is the only positive thing. No, it's like pros and cons depending on your situation, right? There are pros and cons depending on your situation. Complacency can happen to someone who always trusts themselves. For example, someone who thinks they know everything eventually, right? There's nuances in what we would say, you know, the Dunning-Kruger effect, right? Or the Kruger-Dunning effect. I keep forgetting which order. Like this curve. So there's still there are still nuances within those nuances. But yes, I would say anyone who comes up with saying, oh yeah, I see. That works with this. Oh, I see that they took this approach that is similar to this approach, and I can kind of see why this UI design is very prevalent in this day and age. Like, oh, I see why they decided to use this color and this structure and these buttons, the way this is, that to me tells me that someone has an understanding of the nuances of the thing they're making a comment about versus someone who doesn't. Not bad or good. It tells me how much they're invested in something. So when someone starts using the word just, only, exactly, and I clearly don't agree, right? And I happen to be someone who uses the thing, and yet someone who uses these words would counter argue against me, then it informs me to what extent do they know. And it's not the quest of being correct. Personally, I think that's a little overrated. Being wrong versus being right, as opposed to nuanced and general. So when I view someone and when I hear someone make a statement, I use a gauge of what type of language are they using. Are they closer to generalized language, or are they closer to nuanced language, right? And that nuanced language also is associated with investment, aka care, versus not. Not that they hate the thing, they're just apathetic. It's not important to them. So what are the qualities of HanziHero and Wanikani that's not important to a person? The color. What is also not important to the quality of HanziHero and Wanikani? That the sentence exists. What's also not important to the person when they're, summarizing the UI, the icons, right? Because they're different icons. So that's important. It's important to point out. And then it's also important to be able to either express that to the other person, regardless if they're just trying to help. Because if they're not going to be around when you mention, if they're not going to be around when you mention the contrary, then it's okay for some people, right? Some people like it. Some people like that they surround themselves with people who like to make generalizations, because they themselves think it's normal, right? That's in group. That's nice. If you hate Duolingo and you surround yourself with people who hate Duolingo, it's okay. So what are the odds when someone used HanziHero for more than 2 months consecutively, and then you make a generalization? You make a generalization about HanziHero. What would you expect, right? And hear me out. I know they're trying to contribute to a conversation, and I am too, right? However, I would like to honestly portray that I probably would like to share more about the product. So if you're not here for the product, like if that person left already, then it tends to confirm, not that they could be out of time or very busy or something, they just don't have time to hang out. That's perfectly fine. That's within the realm of possibilities. And also another likelihood is they don't care. And that's perfectly all right, right? We're on the internet. That's kind of one of the things that you have to understand. And usually the people that I love to keep around, or like, you don't like determine who to keep around, but the people that I select for, it's pre-selected. Pre-selection. So the last thing I'd probably say is I'm arrogant, right? I'm arrogant, prideful, and trusting of myself. But interestingly enough, that's also the source of my ability to make sure that my pre-selection would reflect that. So yeah, there are people who are arrogant and prideful, and you're gonna have two people who's arrogant and prideful about things, but they trust themselves, so they probably stick around in their values. But if they don't trust themselves, then they would leave, generally speaking, largely because they don't want to hear someone disagree with them. Or stay to defend, I suppose. I don't like this one. The stay to defend is sticky because it depends if it's passive or active. Passive means you defend with righteous indignation, like you're right, so you just defend by repeating what you know, versus you defend by actively interacting with the other person, right? So my selection is really high. Obviously, how high is it? It's high enough that I could spend hours writing about books, regurgitating, basically, in my opinion, I'm generalizing a little, sorry, this is a generalization, regurgitating at my expense. I think that I spend most of my time regurgitating and repackaging through my own life experiences what other people make millions and millions of dollars being championed as the life hack to things like language learning, motivation, productivity. There are wonderful books out there, and go check them out. The internet has all the links, right? Wonderful input methods, output methods for language learning. Those people know how to reduce the complexity and the nuance in order to be digestible for other people. I choose not to do that. So if that person doesn't stick around, well, the results speak for itself. I'm not going to lower my pre-selection until I'm incentivized to do so. So if I wanted to be trendy, then yeah, I mean, Anki would be a great way to do so. If I wanted to be trendy, and constantly pick up, 4 out of 4.5 stars out of 5-star things, then yeah, you can probably get generally a very positive thing, right? A positive depiction. You wouldn't find me spending 90% of my time talking about Duolingo anymore, right? Because Duolingo doesn't have this in most places. There are very selective, pre-selected rating systems that get Duolingo 4.5 stars or more, but overall, it's usually like 2 stars at most, like 2 stars, 2.5 stars, and all of these are self-selected communities. So what are self-selected communities prone to? Echo chamber. Which I'll probably take an example from Seth from the other day. Seth said that he heard, or sorry, Seth heard that Duolingo has fired all of their language experts and replaced them with AI generated content. So AI generates all the lessons and all that stuff, and that's all the people that work at Duolingo for the lesson side of things. And most of it is just programmers working at the back end, business members and whatnot. And all those people, they don't speak different languages either. They clearly probably all speak English, and they all probably never had experience or any problems learning another language working at a language learning app company. So that is what I mean by echo chamber and overgeneralization. Not only that, it is well known that the founder of Duolingo is multilingual. Like that was the whole basis of his motivation for starting Duolingo. Actually, the co-founders are multilingual. So it's ripe with echo chamber. Things become very extreme. Now, do they oversee lessons and stuff? I don't know. They don't disclose those things. And then you could say, well, they don't disclose them because they don't happen. It's like, that's a leap of logic. Right? However, yeah, you're probably not gonna see me delve into these things. What would make a very wonderful viral topic is, I would say, something like, I don't know, a video series, how to make Duolingo work. How to make Duolingo work. 1 year's journey or something. Right? I can be pretty arrogant, snobby, prideful, and whatnot, but I think I can humble myself pretty easily, being aware of what sells, what is less pre-selection, and I'm not doing most of those things. So being aware of that makes it so that I can have these discussions with myself, practice these discussions, and write about these discussions with myself. Like, I don't really need validation from a lot of people, but I totally welcome it. I think people's kindness is unbelievable on the internet. What's disheartening, again, like I want to re-emphasize, I believe there are, like, the internet is filled with kind people. They're incredibly kind. Yet, it's disheartening how untapped that kindness can be due to systems, not human things. So, algorithm, apps, convenience replaced human interactions. And that's a shame. It's disheartening, right? An innocent comment like yesterday's comment when I was learning a term, right? And I totally get it. Very young person, almost 18 years old, made a term like, oh, this app said the vocabulary word is A. So, A, the vocabulary word. And they're like, oh, LOL, we say B. I'm like, this program is saying none of that. It's like, we? Who's we? Am I them? I mean, I like to think I want to know A and B. Why not A and B? Just because A is on the screen, does that mean B does not exist? And that person was being kind, obviously. They were sharing. And I love the phrase, sharing is caring. But sharing and caring has changed quite a lot. The internet has changed what sharing is caring means, in my opinion. And I have to understand that. So, yeah, there's a high chance that HanziHero says both A and B. And that's what I wanted to tell that person, right? I wanted to say, well, there's still a chance. I'm not saying it is, right? Because I still don't know. But I would say the likelihood is that HanziHero, Kevin, is going to include A and B. But I don't know B yet. I know A right now. It's on the screen. So when you don't see something, it doesn't mean it doesn't default to it does not exist. However, on the internet, when you're in echo chambers, based on algorithm and pre-selection, it might as well be that, right? And we'll take it back to this. Man, it would be really, really weird if I had video comments. It would be very, very weird if people made video comments about my language learning experience, assuming I don't do things because they didn't see it. Now, I was going to say it would be very convenient if I had video comments assuming I don't do this because I didn't stream it, but it's actually become this, which is someone tells me that I'm doing it wrong because I don't do something else, and it turns out I already do that other thing, not only off stream, but I also have dedicated hundreds of hours to doing that. That, to me, is what algo brain, I call it the algo brain, or maybe brain rot, I suppose. We could use brain rot nowadays. It's a very hot topic. The brain rot, pre-selection, and echo chamber creates, right? I don't treat people like that, in my opinion, or I try very hard not to. When someone creates an opinion and they tell me an opinion, we're going to talk about it, or at least if I am humanly capable or able to. I like to assume or presume, I want to give the benefit of the doubt to the other person that they do not have brain rot and they are not specifically channeled into an echo chamber, in which that when I say something that disagrees with them, they would repeat the same thing again without considering how much I understand their position and then how my position does not align with their position, right? That is, in my opinion, going to be an uphill battle because I don't see algorithm-based things going away anytime soon, or like changing it up, and the people who exist now are normalizing that, and that's what I have to work with. So, do video comments exist? Yes, they do. Not only that, I reply to those video comments to state that yes, I do these things. Sorry, I don't have time to record these things, and also I can't record these things because of copyright and fair use concerns. Also, or if they exist somewhere else, I would tell them please refer to these following videos. Like the most recent video comment was someone telling me I should do review videos or review sessions to cover all the things I learned in a long period of time. And I do that for every single one of my projects, if not multiple times. So just because they didn't see it doesn't mean I don't already literally do it, nor do I expect them to, right? Because they're very long videos. I mean, this digression is very long, so that's kind of the thing, right? I don't get upset about it. I can explain it. And I can explain it knowing all the reasons why it probably won't happen anytime soon. I don't expect people to go digging in the conversations. Now, there's also lots of professional video comments like, please look up Stephen Krashen and be familiar with his work because this is the GOAT and he is the only reason you're understanding his work is the only reason you're gonna be able to learn a language. It's like, well, I learned English without knowing who Stephen Krashen is. I learned quite a lot of Spanish without knowing who Stephen Krashen was, because I was too young, too inexperienced, too ignorant, right? And now I know who he is to some extent, but I don't really know who he is, because most people would argue, oh, but you only spent like 30 minutes. You're gonna fail because you don't know this person. And I'm like, okay, and his work. I'm like, all right, so you're telling me that, going back to the tools thing, you're telling me that I, as a human being who went through education, needed to know someone else's theorem of learning in order to learn something. So what have I been doing most of my life? Are you telling me that I didn't learn anything up to this point regarding language learning because I needed this? So you're also telling me that if I continue to use Duolingo, I will learn nothing about the target language. Those are not my words. I finally used a quote from video comments. Like that, I don't use language. I try not to use language like nothing, everything, always, never. When I use those words, I'm typically quoting someone who literally made those comments. And when I mean literally, I don't mean figurative and literal. I mean a literal quote. I have timestamps. I have emails. I even have emails about comments that are deleted after the fact. So, yeah, they don't go away, at least in my opinion. People make comments, they make generalizations, and take no accountability or consequence for what they say. It is the nature of the internet, so no hard feelings, right? I don't have feelings that could be hurt with awareness, right? That doesn't mean my feelings don't get hurt. Just it won't push me over some sort of threshold. It takes quite a lot to push me over a threshold. I think the closest thing I've ever gotten to that point was maybe when I'm really tired and I'm like, hey guys, I need to leave. And that just happens to be a coincidence of a long discussion, right? Other than that, I think it is incredibly common, not always, but incredibly common, when someone says they can't do something without something else to exist in this day and age. That permeates 95% of my interactions whenever someone talks about learning. You can't do this because you have to know this first. And I will challenge anyone who loves this hot take, or maybe this one day I'm gonna eat my, put a sock in my mouth and people will clip this to high heaven in the future, like 10 years down the line, what have you. I take ownership of what I say right now here. It is shocking to me that when people think about learning, they believe that they can't trust themselves at the moment. It's very disheartening that in this moment that there are adults who make decisions all the time about their well-being and their life and what they choose to do, and they don't even trust themselves to be able to solve the problems and critical think and be able to solve whatever comes their way. The reason why it's very disheartening is there are going to be problems with level of nuances that if you're looking to try to hunt for a solution online, all that time spent hunting for that solution may make it possibly not quick enough. Like, how do you overcome depression? How do you overcome getting fired from your job? It's like, well, yeah, there are internet things that will help you. There's also you as well with lots of life experiences. But I think because of the hyper aggressiveness of advertisement, aggressive echo chamber, I think I want to end with this last thing. And maybe I'll phrase it in a more of a hot take, which is to use the negative voice. So I'm going to use the negative voice and the positive voice. We'll use the negative voice first as an illustration. Stop underestimating yourself in the matter of learning. Stop underestimating yourself. And then we'll put a little parentheses in the matters of learning, right? Just a wee bit. Stop underestimating yourself in the matter of learning. This is a negative thing. This is what hot takes, in my opinion, algorithms sell. Stop underestimating yourself. These are two negative words put together. It's a double negative, actually. And it's also FOMO, or it's just fear. And then we'll do my classic cliche positive one, which gets much less traffic. Believe in yourself. Believe in yourself. This is a positive statement, and it sounds cheesy. It's cliche. Throw my hats back to the millennial age, right? I'm a millennial generation. Believe in yourself. In the matters, right? In determining what you want. It's usually in the matters of learning too, but I kind of want to spin it a little. Experience can breathe lots of things you can believe in. So determining what you want sometimes may not be explicit. It requires experience. It might be implicit. Right? It might be implicit, not explicit. So there might not be someone who can explain to you, of all the things in your world, how to believe in yourself that you're able to learn something. Right? So there you have it. And I really appreciate, I suppose, whoever has genuine thoughts about this. Maybe it was like breeding hype or creating enemies or creating tension, but generally speaking, there are no winners and losers here, in my opinion. There are people who can possibly make winners of all of them, right? You can make a winner of yourself. And I hope that's it's my attempt to talk about tools and stuff for language learning. The strongest tool in the most effective tool in learning anything is yourself. Hopefully, at some point, it will become yourself. Achieve that, at least in my opinion. If you can get to that point, I think one should record themselves, talk about how they think they learn right now, and then when they get to a point where they can trust themselves to take on any type of task, record yourself again and explain to yourself, why do you think you trust yourself? I think, in my opinion, it will be a very noticeable change in the way you talk and speak and advise others and recommend things to other people. There's a vast gap between the person themselves who do not trust themselves versus in the matters of learning, versus someone who do trust themselves. And the way they go about doing those things are very different. And for me, it happened around maybe 27. Yeah, like around 27, when I was legitimately given the reign to either succeed or fail on my own accord. So yeah, hopefully others get to that point. Good luck, Godspeed to everyone. All right. Let's see. Let's get back to this. Okay. 小树
少数，
少数服从多数，
It's funny that I coincidentally stopped on minority. Okay. Dracula, bunker, outside of what? Definitely outside. The bunker made of beans. He had a light, but what was he outside of? Oh. It's gotta be a 1. The English manor? Dung. Oh yeah, it is.
灯
Yes. Because this is a lamp. Okay. 米饭
米饭，
他每天都吃米饭，
思想
思想，
他的思想境界比我高，
bookshelves. Think about lots of bookshelves falling over. 且
且
oh, that's one word. 手工
手工，
手工面包很美味，
今后
今后，
今后的任务，
Oh no. It's now after, right? So now after is I have trouble with this all the time. Now after. So I typically write after here. Since here after, and I probably added since and afterwards, henceforth. Yeah, okay, it's fine. Hereafter. Okay.
网，
A halberd with an alarm is a bugle.
“背”，
认识
认识，
他们没有认识很多人，
Oh yeah, this is no recognize. Sooner or later, I'm gonna have to negotiate those two. 热气
热气，
一股热气，
Heat. Yeah. 是
是
knowledge. Right. Right. Knowledge.
电
汽车。
机车
他会骑机车。
车。Okay. 手
手
手找
找
找找找处得对处得the heck is 处得 Just take obtain I don't know to get still to obtain right
取得
取得良好的效果，
取得 Oh to achieve that's right Oh to obtain and to acquire as well okay that's fine to achieve is the one that I kind of want to land on though 南边
南边
河流的南边有很多树，
Oops, that's 2 words. Oh, I almost typed for Japanese. 电话
电话
电话在响，
I don't know. That's fine.
雪
It'll be fine.
东末打开
请打开那扇门。
Uh-oh. Wait. Bart, right? Jellyfish. Stuck on the back. Yes, back. Bart, beach house. Bathroom? Or is it... Yes.
背
Yes. Right. 干杯
干杯
为友谊干杯。
以
This is not compare. It's something else. And I don't remember. Oh. Did it at once? Oh no, use. Use is what they want. That's right. Use.
诗 老人，
那位老人非常健康。
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Right. We're fine.
秋，
Oh no. Is this a pen or it's got to be a pen, right? It's not a brush. Okay. That's the pen. Okay.
长，奶奶，
奶奶今天没有出门。
排球，
我们赢了一场排球比赛。
公车，
公车要来了吗？
壁，过，地，
this is a claw. Okay, so what the heck is the other? Okay, so we have fork. Oh, we have two. Wait. I guess that's the only fork. I'm thinking about pen.
“在家”，
我现在不在家。
I need a tone check on aisle 10. Okay, horn, ale, a mixed up monster. What does that have to do with Walter? Okay, Walter White is in the bathroom of the beach house. Horn tails. Yeah, it's something about a monster, a mutant. Oh no. Tails, horn? No idea.
胃，
What are they? Oh, act? I can't believe I didn't put cause on here. And because relating to concerning. But what was the act? Walter White is in the bathroom of the beach house by the bay trying to decide what to do next. He sits on the toilet and does not act yet. See, this is the weak spot of HanziHero, in my opinion. Anytime there's only one thing and one component with only one mnemonic, right? Act is still an act, It doesn't last long. It's horrendous largely because there are not enough keywords. So everything else is like fluffer words, right? The toilet signifies the bathroom, right? The bathroom. And then there's some sand like beach towels to allow for the beach house. But then you have no frame of reference because the other thing could be anything, like does not act. Act in what way? Something. So maybe his next act will be to finally get a tan, yeah. But that's for the idea of act. But way is regarding, concerning a lot of things. And actually, I have not gotten a vocabulary word that deals with the word act yet. Yeah, see, you can't see it down here, but the actual first 3 vocabulary words is why, because, and why. It can all lead to concerning, regarding, or relating, as opposed to act, right? However, you can phrase all of these with the act. Oof. Oh, let me think about this. Walter White. I was gonna use concern because I knew I added concern. I was trying to figure out what this is. He didn't act because he wanted a tan. That's... Yikes. Not enough to go on. Like, there's no horns. I guess act. This is where we go back to the components, right? The tail, the horn. I needed to know that it's act. The component is act, not... Yeah, this is where we must rely on the component. So, the monster needed to act a certain way. Yeah, so that was the word. A mythical creature that acts a certain way. Okay. Should have thought about that a little bit longer before trying to figure out what the definition was that they wanted. 好人。
好人，
他是一个好人。
I don't think this is long. Is it? Oh, is this one of the exceptions? It's one of the exceptions. Does this get silenced? I don't think so.
哪里？
请问，厕所在哪里？
球，到，
Two dolls after each other. Or away, yeah.
问号，
打个问号。
对话，
对话，
他能够流利的用中文对话。
他能够努力，他用中对话。Right? Correct? Speak? 对话 dialogue? Yikes. 对话 The correct speech? Oof. Okay. Hmm. 开玩笑。
开玩笑，
别开玩笑了。
最近，
他最近太忙。
一样，
他们不一样。
常常，
这里常常会很冷。
Son of a bee sting. Dart to the mouth is oh, James Bond. James Bond is outside somewhere. Outside the beach house sounds about right. Oh, yeah.
之
Yeah, that's fine.
西边
我家在城市的西边。
苏
Pretty good day today. It's a pretty good day today. I guess we definitely have some strong days and weak days in terms of categorization. That's not bad. Not bad. Even with the digression in between, not bad. I think the digression is the superpower. That's a sampling bias right there. All right. All right. Oh, ignore that. That was from yesterday. I was having a rough day yesterday. Oh, rough as in coincidentally there were a lot of things I had trouble with for a while. I think we tried to solve most of them. They didn't come up again. They usually, when we get them wrong, they come up the following day. And it looks like they didn't occur today, right? Let's see. Yeah, all 4 of these are new, not consecutive. Yeah, yesterday, really rough. Yesterday was pretty rough. Okay, so we have boat. Voice recorder. Chung. We'll double check all these with our mnemonics in a bit. Chong. No. Wait, yes. 对。赢 勇 I can bee sting. Oh. 住 金 小是 Oh no, 小树 小树 算了 流血买猪买猪参加非说非说坏亲Wait, not 坏亲 that's like what the heck is 坏亲 That's not 坏亲认认清is yeah刚好发生王位王文那王文文弄长生不老长生不老 Okay, let's go over this. So, right, this is Charlie Brown outside of the English Manor. And the reason we know the English Manor is because of the rich kids, right? So, Charlie Brown is showing the rich kids that on his rack, so it's a modified rack. It's oops. How does this modify rack go? Like, guess I'm gonna write it this way. Rack, his modified rack, where there are cleats and a grain stock. Cleats and a grain stock. And they have names. But the rich kids decide to tease Charlie Brown about it because it's stupid. So they called him names, right? For Charlie Brown. Now we have Chucky. Chucky is inside the pawn shop, attaching legs and a mouth to a boat to create a walking ship. Okay, fine. Dracula No, not Dracula. Dumbledore. This is where I made the mistake. Dumbledore. Oh, Dumbledore. A beach house? Oh yeah, I guess. Yeah. Beach house. So in the bathroom of the beach house, preparing his horned pigs, his team of horned pigs. Right. Horn pigs. But one of the pigs got out because he was trying to clean them and ran for the sandy hills, right? Okay. Now we have... The heck is YE? Oh, it's modified. So it's Yoshi. Appearing inside of the English Manor. Where he drove a car from the road to inside the English Manor, so road. And through a box of postage stamps, right? Postage stamps as a welcome to his appearance, I suppose, and then delivering the postage to the other people on their way to the other people. Oh wait, it's not welcome. It's welcome is an alternative. What is the thing they wanted? Greet. To greet, yeah, the other people. Okay, and then we have Yoshi again. This time in the basement of the temple, where there's an eggshell that's collecting drops of water that drops for eternity and contemplating about the eternity with the monks. Then we have Julius Caesar, and this one's gonna be weak for the next couple days when it occurs again. Julius Caesar is in the bathroom where is in the bathroom of the house where he finds a recorder where he finds a voice recorder where he utters one sentence, and that sentence is to remember this mnemonic, right? Hopefully. Who the heck is J? Oh, right. No, J.I. Jimmy Neutron is in front of the English Manor where he planted a beanstalk. Right. Beanstalk that goes up to the moon. And out pops an eyeball. An eye. And the walking eyeball, he can't believe his eyeballs. He saw the walking eyeball come out of the moon, right? Okay. And then now we have to remember. Oh, yeah. This is probably... Yeah, that's probably how that works. So I have to remember that something with horns and a tail looks like a, oh, this kind of looks like a face. Looks like a mythical creature that acts weird. And that act is also related to Walter White Way. It's probably how we're gonna do most of these for the time being. Acts and Walter White is in an inaction in the bathroom of the beach house, contemplating about whether to get a tan or not. Right. This one was a misread, just straight up misread. I was thinking of something entirely different. Oops. Youth. Ting Chun. Did I screw this one up? Oh. Also a misread. Wow, today was really nice. So this was a misread too. Who sure. That's fine. Oh, and this was a typo. Wow, just one today. With a concern. Empress. What does an empress look like? You have a mouth, you have a purse, right? A pouch, a mouth. Actually, I don't know how an empress is described. Yeah, I have no idea what an empress is, how an empress is described. Oh, wait. I should look up the stroke order for empress. It feels more like this. It's so tall. I didn't finish this character. What was this? Xiao. Right. Xiao versus Xiao. Xiao versus Xiao. This is Xiao. That's where the mix was. Not bad. I think we're good. All of us are light except this one. This one requires some reinforcement. Alright. So what time is it? 9:30 p.m. Alright. So that's a wrap for our traditional Chinese today in HanziHero. Kind of pause right in the middle for a little bit about a teaser of a topic that I was gonna talk about when we're gonna summarize like Wanikani, specifically Wanikani, but a little bit of HanziHero too, because both of them involve SRS. So 30 days from now, or 29 days from now, and then 22 days for Wanikani, the topic is going to come up in my review, right? Considering certain things, talking about SRS and its position, SRS and the positions that I think, at least for myself personally, where SRS requires common. I would complement SRS with something else and that stuff, right? It was in the middle. There was a bit of a teaser talking about how pools are used and all that. Usually that's a commentary left for people with hot takes. Anyways, let's wrap. If you're gonna watch this later, 谢谢, right? So until next time, 大家下次见, right? 下次见. I'm gonna get up, take a quick bathroom break, and I'll be back for Spanish. Thank you, thank you.